Donald Trump blatantly defied an order from the Supreme Court, and when confronted about that by a reporter doing her job, he lashed out, whining like the true alpha he is.
Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago, and they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You know, you have no credibility. Please go ahead.
President Trump.
Okay, so that was CNN's Kaitlan Collins, who has, for a couple of years now, been one of the reporters most willing to stand up to Donald Trump, although she is constantly attacked by him and his supporters as a result of it. And by the way, at this point, with the exact inversion of the truth that we have, if he says that she has low ratings, I have no doubt that if I look it up, she'll probably be one of the most popular people on CNN. That's what bothers him about it. But she's totally right about him. And Trump is lying. Why don't you just say you're happy we're keeping criminals out? Well, he's not a criminal, so you're wrong on that. Mark that down. You're wrong on that point. Also, it was illegal in the first place to deport him. You literally were barred since 2019 from deporting him specifically there. So kind of feel like that's a good point. Also, by the way, if we're taking criminals so seriously and we're taking imprisonment so seriously, why is no one in prison for the deportation of him in the first place? Not him. Someone broke the law when they did that. And it's hugely consequential. A person could die as a result of that mistake. Why are they not in prison? Why don't we know exactly who made that happen? Who signed off directly contradicting a court order that's been there for half a decade? Why is that person not already in the legal process that should end with them in prison? And I'll be way kinder than the Trump administration will be. You get Garcia back, then we'll back off. We'll call it even. But at this point, you do not have a crime without a criminal. And we're a culture that takes our criminals super seriously. We want to do something about them. So lock that person up, okay? That's what needs to happen. And in terms of the lies that Trump is telling there, we're going to give Jake Tapper an opportunity to correct a little bit of that, and then we'll discuss.
He was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country.
No version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador.
I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country.
Now, just a quick fact check on some of this and some important background on Garcia, who is married to a U.S. citizen. He has one child with her and two stepchildren. It is true that Garcia is a citizen of El Salvador, and it is true that he entered the United States illegally sometime around 2011. His attorneys say that he was initially fleeing gang violence in El Salvador. As for the allegation that he's a member of MS-13, which he fervently denies, well, the evidence of that is much more flimsy. According to court documents, Garcia and three other men were arrested in 2019. He was asked if he was a gang member. He said no. Garcia had been deemed a gang member by the Prince George's County Police Department in part because he was at the time wearing a Chicago Bulls hat and a hoodie, and a confidential informant claimed that Garcia was an active member of MS-13, although he denied that at the time.
And Pam Bondi, who 100% take it to the bank, knows every bit of that, just said that it's been proven he's part of it. She knows it's not true. She's lying because she doesn't give a damn about the law or the Constitution or the truth. She's a loyalist to Donald Trump. That's it. What she says has no value whatsoever, except to Donald Trump, if it helps him to take us further down the road to fascism. They just lie. They just lie. And I'm sure you saw it in the video. I don't know if everybody clocked it. The president of El Salvador, smiling. He was just smiling as all of them were telling these lies. Again, it's just evil, top to bottom evil. Evil, evil, evil. Maz, what do you think?
John, you said a few things that came to mind. First of all, this president of El Salvador 6 months ago he wasn't even on their radar, or he was probably part of the S-hole countries. All of a sudden, he's a superstar because he's got the worst prison in the world, and he's willing to take these people because we're paying him $7 million or millions of dollars to do it. This guy's having a great time. He's the drug kingpin of it all, the kingpin of everything right now. He's just living large, and to your point, the others in the room all wanted to get a word in. The others in the room, it's almost like they want to impress daddy, right? So let me tell you how, let me tell you how extreme I am. I'm going to show you how extreme I am. I'll tell you how extreme I am. And they're all, again, no guardrails. At least in the previous administration, you could cut to John Kelly with his hand in his head, just shaking his head. But now that's not even they're excited. They're waiting to just go. They're raring to go. It's the same thing that we saw when Zelensky was visiting and J.D. Vance wanted to impress daddy, so he jumped in. That's what these people are doing. It's really just, it's ridiculous. And then you also ask, like, if you want to, go after criminals, then we should also get the guy who accidentally sent this gentleman Garcia to El Salvador. Well, their rule, John, is I can commit crimes, you can't commit crimes. Because clearly they are okay with crimes, given that Donald Trump is the president and has committed so many crimes. They're cool with that, but you can't commit crimes. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was, you said earlier, we've been here before, but in other countries. I come from Iran, where I've seen it firsthand what happens when you end up with a totalitarian state over there based in religion. And let's not forget that the religious right is hardcore behind this administration. Project 2025 has a lot of hardcore right-wing religious ideas. And so a lot of the stuff that they're doing is pushing us in that direction. And it's interesting because the clip that was going around of that, the PhD student at Tufts University that was arrested by the ICE agents who covered their face, I posted that on my stories to just say, look what's happening. And I have people that follow me on Instagram that live in Iran, and a lot of them were commenting. They go, oh my gosh, we thought this only happens in Iran. Well, now it's happening in America. And the difference is, in Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran will just approach people and say, you did something un-Islamic, we're going to disappear you. And in America, they're saying you did something that the administration doesn't agree with. If you criticized America, we're going to disappear you. So we are now headed to becoming soon the Christian Republic of America.
Yeah, but tell me more about how the libs are. Oh, they're just so censorious. They have a cancel culture. You tweet the wrong thing, you could literally get sent to a prison in El Salvador. Okay, I don't recall Biden doing that. I don't recall libs doing that. Really fast, and I know we're going on a really long time. I apologize. We have to balance a lot of things on this show. There's nothing I care more about right now, so we're going to talk about it a lot. There was a 19-year-old who was hanging out in front of a building that ICE was hitting in New York, and they snatched up this one guy, Merwil Gutierrez, and one of the officers says, no, he's not the one, and another one said, take him anyway, and they deported him to El Salvador. They weren't there for him. They just snatched him up. By the way, there's a guy in Vermont. He's lived in the U.S. He's a legal permanent resident, lived in the U.S. for 10 years. He was at his appointment for citizenship, and they stormed in, they took him, and he's been arrested by ICE. Oh, he was an activist at Columbia. So again, didn't do anything wrong, except that he committed thought crime. He held positions the administration doesn't like. He'd been here for 10 years. He was going to become a citizen. He was literally in the process of becoming a citizen. And God only knows what's going to end up happening to him. And we just see it more and more and more because they got to get those numbers up. They told us it'd be criminals, rapists, murderers. Guess there aren't any because they have to go around just finding people who, I don't know, posted a meme on Blue Sky that Stephen Miller didn't like. And I guess that's what's going to end up filling up these prisons.